Welcome everybody, and thanks to GCV for presenting this digital forum. My name is Einat Mizell, and I'm a corporate partner at Fenwick & West, and my background focus is with working with startup companies and investors, including corporate venture investors. And I'm just thrilled to be here, and I'm even more thrilled to have join me today Tamara Stevens, Managing Director of M12, who's been working diligently to support startups around the world. Thank you so much, Tamara, for being here.
Thanks. It's great to be with you. Although virtual, maybe in the future we can do this in person. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm the Managing Director for M12, which is, as you said, Microsoft's venture fund. I manage our North America and India investment team, as well as our market dev team, which helps our portfolio companies succeed. So I'm very excited to be here. I got to Microsoft about, I guess it's 6 years ago, but only on the venture team in the last year. Microsoft actually bought my previous company, so I like to consider myself now on the other side of the table. Lots of startups, did 6 different startups, so I'm the operator on the team and love working with new founders and making new investments.
Terrific, terrific. And next time when we do this, hopefully we'll also have a martini or a glass of wine.
Yeah. Instead, for now, I've got some coffee, which I seem to drink too much of during this pandemic.
Exactly. Terrific. So let's walk through the last 12 months at M12. I'm sure they've been interesting as they have been for the rest of us, but tell us a little bit about what you've been doing to support startups during this unprecedented time.
Yeah, I mean, as I talk to friends of mine who are in traditional venture and other friends who are in corporate venture, I think we all, at the beginning of this pandemic, all just, stepped back and really tried to help our existing portfolio companies by taking what dry powder we had left in the fund and really making sure they were shored up and had enough to get through the tough times. Shortly after that, I think we realized that there was either going to be some headwinds, not as bad as we originally thought, and tailwinds, which we didn't expect. So in some of our healthcare investments, some of our productivity investments, lots of tailwinds, really had some exciting results in the last year. So I think, we regrouped, refunded where we could, and doubled down as far as trying to help all of our portfolio, get through this this pandemic.
And I would love to know, and I'm sure our audience would also love to know, do you have any tips for the venture folks sitting in the room or on the Zoom or on the digital session that to help them network and find deal flow?
It's funny. I don't know that it's changed all that much from what we did pre-pandemic, except now it's the Zoom and the Teams calls and phone calls. And I would say you can actually do more, right? And in the beginning, I think people were like, oh, I'm normally doing these networking dinners, or I'm normally meeting with people, or I'm attending a conference. And now it's like, well, wait a minute. I can set up these phone calls on a regular basis. I can set up a Zoom call on a regular basis. I don't even have to travel. I don't even have to travel down the street. So I think it's been, once people kind of regrouped and understood what the real working conditions were going to be, you can take advantage of that and do the same type of networking you did before, and maybe even more, because it's easier to set up a phone call. It's easier to, connect for coffee in the morning over Zoom, right? Or over Teams. So, I think now that we've all figured out how to do this, we're doing more networking and hopefully meeting more founders, right? We don't have to find founders in that 50-mile radius or have them come into the office or fly to see them. We can do the first couple of calls in the last year, all the calls, to make the investment. in a different way. So I think that's going to help us going forward. We're going to be able to do broader investments, wider globally, and I think it'll be win-win for both us and the founders.
And so now that the world has gotten much, much smaller because of the digital capabilities, are there particular areas of innovation and regions that you're interested in or looking in or particularly active in?
Well, I mean, I think broadly in the U.S., we're really, we've talked to a lot more founders that are outside of the Bay Area. We had done a lot of investment in a few in Austin, Texas, and in New York, of course. But I think now we're like, hey, like it kind of doesn't matter. Like, tell us what your tech is, tell us what you're doing, how you're trying to get there. I mean, the good news is Microsoft is global to start with, so we have offices just about everywhere. Our venture office, we do have an office in Bangalore, so in India, in Tel Aviv, which we have big research and development in both those locations. That's very helpful for us as a venture fund to have them help us with diligence as we need it. And then we opened an office in London, which of course, is a big Microsoft location as well. So, and started in San Francisco, so most of our US team is still based there. But now, I think we're every day we talk to founders in different locations. And again, Microsoft is global. We have offices just about everywhere, so we can tap into resources where we need to for diligence or for help. And I think we're doing it more now than we did before.
Great. And can you tell us a little bit, in your opinion, what are the advantages of having a young company work with a corporate, both as a strategic investor and as an innovation partner?
Yeah, I mean, M12 really likes to let people know we invest based on financial return. That's our first and foremost reason why we make investments. The fact that we can align strategically with both that founder and startup and with Microsoft is a bonus, right? So I would say, as a new founder, as a startup, if you find a corporate venture fund that can help you grow or help you from an engineering perspective, from a distribution perspective, that's a huge advantage, right? And you should do that, because growth is really important in early stage companies, right? Who can help you get your distribution going? Who can help you with engineering when you need it? Who can help you not only financially, that's important, but Microsoft, we have Azure, right? Great technology, great engineering. We can help startups get as much storage as they need. I think we have a broad resource pool of engineers and product teams that can help our startups. So same with most corporate venture funds, use their specialty to help drive your growth.
Now, we know that you, like many who are listening in today, are very passionate about helping female founders. And I'm curious to know what you believe your corporate VC peers can do to support this community, and also what M12 and Microsoft are doing to support those communities.
Yeah, so the great thing about Microsoft Ventures and M12 is we started doing a female founders competition a couple of years ago. So we've done two vintages, if you will, and it's been fantastic. As most people know, female founders get far less funding than their male counterparts. So it was great to be able to open the doors and say, bring us your ideas, bring us your companies, let us fund you. And we partnered in our last competition with both Pivotal and Mayfield, and it was fantastic. We had so many amazing companies that we invested in as part of the competition, and then even some after. So great introduction to those founders and being able to help fund them. But that's not everything they need. Yes, funding, really important. But number two, if you can't invest in them or it doesn't fit your thesis for whatever reason, but it's a great idea and it's a great idea, can you help them sell to your company, right? You're all corporate venture funds. you all have procurement departments, you all have angles whereby these companies can get introduced. Help them make that introduction to those female founders, to those underrepresented minority founders that come to you if you can't fund them. But hopefully you can do both.
And the female founder competition seems like a great tool to be able to source female founded companies and startups. Are there any other tools or some unique ways to be able to identify and attract those types of companies?
Yeah, part of my team is really focused on, looking at seed companies and developing relationships with seed venture funds that support underrepresented minorities. And we try to reach out early and say, what is in your portfolio? Who are you talking to? How can we help? Not just from funding, although I will say that remains very important, but can we mentor? Can we help some of these startups get introduced to Microsoft, make those introductions? So I do think we're going to continue to lean in that space. We'd love to increase our focus on seed funding ourselves with female founders and underrepresented minorities. We'd love to be able to continue to invest directly and then share that with our other partners.
I'm wondering if you're seeing also initiatives undertaken by your actual portfolio companies, or whether you encourage your portfolio companies to take on initiatives that focus on diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, we absolutely do. That's a big advantage of working with Microsoft. We have lots of resources that you can tap into as a small company, so that you can start out with diverse talent and you can build your company based on that thesis, which we all know makes a more profitable company and a better company long term. And so we offer a lot of our resources that we have as a company that we use to attract diverse talent and train people in finding diverse talent. So we lend out that talent as much as we can to help our portfolio companies achieve some of the same results.
Perfect. Now, you've been on both sides of the table as both a female founder as well as a corporate investor, and you've also had a lot of interaction with financial investors. I'm wondering if there are any tips you can give to the audience here about what and how to be a better investor, a better corporate investor, or a better investor generally.
Yeah, I mean, that might take a long time to answer that question. It might take our whole discussion. I think having sat on the other side and done 6 different startups before coming to Microsoft, the empathy of knowing how hard it is to be a founder and start a company and drive growth and find the right talent and get people working together, it's really hard. Startups are hard. And so I think, for me, being able to offer some operating experience and really dig in and work with my CEOs, trying to help them where they need help, and not, really try to lean in on where they are missing resources and try to fill in and help them get to that next growth level is it's important to me, and it's what makes my job awesome, right? Otherwise, I would just go to another startup and do it again because it's addictive. But being on the other side of the table, being on these boards, investing in founders and in great startups is almost just as fun.
So let's change tracks just a little bit. I come from a cross-border background. I'm really interested to know, when working with global companies, are there any tips that you have for the investors listening in and watching about how to work with global companies where there may be a cultural gap or some other gap because of their cross-border or global nature coming into the U.S.?
Yeah, we do a lot of that type of training, the cultural training, the global training internally at Microsoft. So where we can share some of that with our founders, we do. I think Microsoft as a company, because we have so many resources globally, and if we can lend those resources out to our portfolio companies to help them with those cultural boundaries or I guess cultural
Nuances.
nuances, then we will do that. It's tough. I mean, I will say, because my team focuses on US and North American companies in India, a lot of times they're starting in the US. And so then what we can do is try to help them, do more European deals or more, whatever their focus is on their product, where's it going to fit next?
Yeah.
And have them meet with the rest of Microsoft to see where we can help them grow. It's not easy, right? I mean, you got to be good in one location before you can be great in multiple locations.
Yeah, I agree. So if you had a crystal ball and you could see 12 months into the future, where do you think, and hopefully we'll be in a post-COVID world by then, sipping a martini somewhere, where do you see M12 in 12 months?
I actually think we're going to be better than we are now. And one, because I think being Microsoft and having a really global reach to start, and then this pandemic allowing us to use a lot of the productivity tools to reach, a broader founder audience, if you will. I think Satya said at the, shortly into the pandemic that, after 2 months, we did, I don't know what the exact, we grew 2 years in digital transformation in 2 months. Might have even been more than that. So I think being able to take advantage of that transformation and move faster, make quicker decisions, I think we're going to stay there. I think that, maybe even get more nimble, because we'll be able to use both our productivity tools, the way we have taken advantage of video and the tools, and we're going to get back to doing some in-person stuff. So I think that combination is just going to make for better investments and, hopefully more profitable startups.
That's fantastic. So I think on that optimistic note, I don't have any more questions. If there's anything else you'd like to share with the audience, we'd love to hear it. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I agree that martini or glass of wine in the future would be fantastic. Until then, we'll do video and coffee.
Wonderful. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.